hasn't really made it, too bad for himself. Doesn't give Av3k too much of an advantage in terms of comp and map picks. But we are going to go to the first map between these two juggernauts into the third series of the day, and let's see what they can do here, because that is definitely not Sib. I'm sure that is
definitely
GaRpY.
not Sib.
That was definitely fun, but we'll go to Av3k anyway.
That is Av3k. Yeah, that is Av3k, who's starting on the Anarchy. We've been seeing this this champ pick, and actually, like, the Anarchy versus Sorlag, I wasn't aware of this like deep rivalry that they as champions have, but it is here, and we see it pretty often, and it's a completely polarizing kind of selection between the two. It always makes for some interesting games. So Av3k just using some nail spam there to try to keep GaRpY off, but again, has to be careful about that spit, has to kind of manage those injections. Gonna have a battle here at the Mega. It was delayed just a couple of seconds there. Av3k getting a little bit of damage, and he is definitely hunting. Has an idea his opponent's still down below. He was right, lands a nice rail, and trying to protect that railgun. I don't think GaRpY has a rail yet, so, Av3k's not even gonna give him that chance.
No, he hasn't, not yet anyway, and you're right though, Av3k doing a good job just contesting that rail, so at least that way he has the advantage in terms of range, but, I was going to say not anymore, but Av3k left on 3 HP, he's going for the health bubbles first, completely understandable. He's still raidable though, he needs to try and go for the Mega. This could be quite a big mistake. He's actually had to let it go. He's looking to go for the health bubbles first, just to have extra HP in order to then push on for the next fight. I don't think he expected GaRpY just to push in like that. So a little bit of a blunder, but it's not too bad, as Av3k still got a nice, decent stack to work with. Going to back away with that rail. GaRpY still very, very weak from that last engagement. But Av3k still has that inject and does use it. Good! 2 rails from Av3k, and what a way to start this series, Wheat.
Spicy, Lethal. That is so spicy. I mean, that LG and the curved hallway. Here comes the LG yet again. Spit's coming out, but the spit was literally like, I'm dying and my mouth is full of this acidic substance. And that was an easy pickup there for Av3k. It was unfortunate that GaRpY wasn't able to follow up with that on that first frag, because he did have Av3k incredibly low. I think Av3k made the right choice, heading over, grab those health vials, disengaging, also grabbing the heavy, and that set him up for, frag 2 and then frag number 3. They're going to meet in the back hallway yet again, and I'm noticing quite a bit of nail gun usage, and then the LG is coming out, but pretty scary fight here for Av3k, but he sticks with it, landing LG and finally a rail to get his 4th frag, real heavy off the spawn. Wow, Lethal. We talked about it, that Av3k's been looking like the woken beast, and we are seeing it firsthand right here.
Oh, man. It's just making matters worse. You were talking about his LG before the series even started. It's just continuing the trend. Good nails from Av3k. His aim is just ridiculous, to say the least. But finally, that's been stopped. But one thing we need to talk about as well is the light versus heavy matchup. The fact that GaRpY can easily trade if he wants to. Hasn't had the opportunity to trade yet, as Av3k hasn't really taken enough damage after some of those engagements earlier on. But still though, GaRpY looking to go for that Mega, but just trying to fake out. He's going to go for it, but again, a little bit of a blunder from GaRpY this time around instead of Av3k, as he will be picking up that Mega. Items are nicely segregated for him to contest both. We'll pick up the light, but not before taking 2 rails. GaRpY's not going to go for the 3rd. He's done more than enough to then go for this heavy, and now Av3k needs to back away.
Yeah, GaRpY's rail was real nice because it did not allow Av3k the flexibility to make his way into that heavy room and try to contest that. So that was nice. And also we saw Av3k try to delay that Mega just a little bit, but I think GaRpY, he had a good idea what was going on there, so he knew. 1-7 though, Av3k with a pretty demanding lead right now. He is going to make his way up that jump pad. GaRpY does manage to hit a rail there. Now heading over to that heavy. Can GaRpY start to bring this back? You mentioned the light, the matchup that we've got here, and if GaRpY could find, wow, Av3k very low, but if GaRpY could find an open window, open door of opportunity, get that next frag, he does have that ability to kind of throw that thick Sarlacc body right against Anarchy and potentially look at some frags. So he's doing a great job right now controlling the Mega as well. He's got a good stack, and this is the time, Lethal. This is when you go after it, and he barrels into the curved hallway. He lands a very, very nice shotgun blast, trying to follow up with some rockets. Av3k got a fair amount of damage off on there. Don't think he expected that, but still got out of there low. Unfortunately for GaRpY, it didn't result in the frag.
Oh, Avic's literally getting away from murder twice now. And he has a rail as well, just to keep him away. 14 HP, definitely will not be staying for that fight. As he picks up the health bubble, he's going to go for the light when it respawns momentarily. Uses the injector in case GaRpY does flank round the corner, which he does, but beautiful LG. Surely not.
Nice.
GaRpY does finish him up with that super shotty. And we're going to see what GaRpY's going to be up to next. Still got just under 5 minutes of play. Picks up the heavy and he's got a 5 frag deficit to come back on.
Yeah, it's still a bit, but within 5 minutes, it's doable. I mean, Av3k definitely had the better momentum kicking the match off, but with the last frag that we saw from GaRpY, that is what he can do as that heavy champ, as you know, being able to just kind of, you know, get a little bit more in the face, and I like to see that. You still got to be careful. Av3k's shown, hey, my aim is incredibly on, and once again, he just decides, hey, Av3k's in this area. It's going to be really hard for Anarchy to fight. Can use rockets. It's not a great place to rail, and that's worked out 3 times for him. Av3k does get this frag off the spawn, but this rail room is where Av3k has met most of his deaths.
Yeah, look at the map presence, so 1,211 more damage in comparison to GaRpY. Look at the item control, 7 items, Av3k into the 16 of GaRpY. So GaRpY's actually had the majority of the map control just in terms of items, but has not been able to do anything with it. As Av3k now is fighting back, keeping his distance, and using this inject to the best of his ability in terms of how and when's the best time to actually use it. And good rail, but main thing is good prediction and positional advantage as he was coming across from those hourglasses.
They need like a mirror right there, you know, like when you're driving, there's a mirror so you can kind of see if there's a car coming at you, because he just got blindsided with that rail. That was pretty ridiculous. 3-9 now, and every frag that Av3k gets right now is going to make this very, very difficult here for GaRpY. Obviously, he's got to make it up, but you got to keep in mind that speed factor that comes in as well. There's a rocket bounce, but a nice rail from GaRpY. Av3k having to get away from that one and stack on his health. You know, we're hitting that 2.5 minute mark, and Lethal, I think where, you know, it gets a little scary is that if Av3k needs to play Ring Around the Rosie, he can.
Certainly could do indeed, but GaRpY's taken way too much damage to continue this fight, but the Tri-Bolt's going to do itself justice. 2 minutes 15 left, needing 7 frags on a map like Molten Falls. It's a big ask, really is, but with these Tri-Bolts, I don't really need to worry too much now. Oh, that last rocket hit the pillar, that would have done so much damage, but it doesn't matter. Damage has already been done. Av3k's only on 20 HP. Nice little peekaboo with the rail to clean GaRpY up. Picks up the heavy. And now, what's he going to do here? Is Av3k just looking to increase his lead rather than actually, you know, play for time?
Yeah, fight over Mega might go GaRpY's way. It does with the splash damage from a rocket. Less than 2 minutes left to go. And gotta say, I kind of appreciate the fact that Av3k just didn't automatically revert to some sort of defensive play here. He's been keeping the same amount of pressure on. A nice up and down rail from GaRpY, making it 5-11. He was very, very low, but with 1.5 minutes now, it'd be pretty tough to pick up these 6 frags, especially because, as we mentioned, Av3k could start to go on the run if he needed to. He's going to pick up that Mega, however. GaRpY on the other side did grab... No, he didn't grab that heavy, actually. So he is just kind of waiting for his opponent, but at this point, he's got to be chasing down, right? He's got to be putting all the pressure on that he possibly can. There, the inject comes out. Nice rail. Doesn't result in the frag yet. He'll still fight from the bottom. Heavy is up. He will be able to grab it, but this next minute would need to be the greatest minute of Quake ever played, Lethal, for him to try to bring this one back.
Yeah, probably won't happen, though. I'm not going to lie, but some good shots coming out of GaRpY. His rail has been extremely good. Just looking at the percentages, see there, GaRpY 50%, Av3k 52%, so it's been very, very equal. And you remember, GaRpY's playing against, you know, an Anarchy, you know, obviously with the with his character model and of course his hitbox, it's very, very difficult, a lot more difficult for him. So the, you know, the tracking's there. It's just maybe his position quite a lot of the time. GaRpY does come back to that 5 frag deficit. Still a little bit too late, but not too bad though. We've definitely seen a lot worse as GaRpY may be able to make something happen differently in that second map, but GaRpY's still laying down the law with some of these rockets and the rails he's actually been throwing at Av3k over the last minute. But good stuff from GaRpY, but sadly for him, Av3k is the one who takes that bite for frags. It just, you know, kind of bloomed a little bit too late, I feel,
It did. It did. There were some moments that I really liked what GaRpY was trying to do, right? We talked about that rail room a little bit, and it seemed like every time GaRpY had a good indication that Av3k was in there, he was making it his way in, kind of this grand entrance, and you know, some metal music was playing as he barrels around the corner, and that was a great place for him as Sorlag to actually fight Av3k's Anarchy, and every single time it resulted in a frag. But the difference between the two is that Av3k off the spawn was able to convert most of his frags into another frag, and that last one that we saw with the GaRpY running for those health bubbles and then just getting perfectly railed, there was some real nice ones coming out there from Av3k. But I wouldn't, if I was GaRpY, obviously I wouldn't get too discouraged. We talked a little bit about, you know, that map, it being one of Av3k's better ones. We move on to Exile now, a different set of kind of challenges in front of him, but you know, still a good game, and I think really does reinforce that Av3k is looking as good as maybe he has in Quake Champions. It's really nice to see.
Yeah, it's lovely to see Av3k with that high level of consistency still. GaRpY, I did feel like he played much better in the second half, but hopefully he'll continue that going into these next couple of maps. You did say it's going to be on Exile, it's going to be map number 2. GaRpY doesn't really favour the larger map pool. You know, he does prefer, you know, the Exile, the Deep Embrace, the Corrupted Keep. He doesn't actually prefer Molten Falls or Ruins in the slightest. He seems to dislike it. He seems to avoid it in any way he can. But looking at it now, you know, Molten Falls was a good example as to why. So we'll have to see what he can do, because even with the item control he had in Molten Falls, he couldn't really do much with it.
Yeah, I gotta give a shout out. And Feebler in chat said 5.8k damage, not even 6k. What a noob.
Yeah, how dare you?
It's so true. It's so true. You know, where's the consistency, Av3k? Come on. But no, seriously, still an enormous amount of damage. And thanks, chat, as always, for the good memes.
Yeah, you gotta love him. Gotta love chat. But speaking of chat, looking at the prediction for the channel points, GaRpY 6%. Not really too much faith in him, even though, you know, he should do a lot better on Exile. So, you know, I'm not going to try and jinx it for you guys. I don't want you losing any more channel points, considering the amount that you guys probably lost in the Sparty game earlier on when he came back against Frazy in that second map. But we'll see what happens though. GaRpY definitely has the opportunity to make a comeback from this. He looked a lot better during that second half. He does prefer Exile compared to the larger map pool like Molten and Ruins. So we'll see what we can do here, see how we can respond. So we'll go into the second map of the series as Av3k is up 1-0 and find out how and what he can do against Av3k.
Yeah, and we're going to be looking through the eyes of GaRpY here on the start, as he hits a great rail to open it up. First blood drawn. He also got himself the heavy early on. A second one. Might even be able to kind of keep this LG out of the hands of his opponent. That's exactly what he did. Av3k had nothing that entire time except for machine gun, and he just picked up a rocket launcher. So, you know, Av3k didn't get much off of the spawn. He was pretty much starved of everything. Major items, armor, weapons. He did sneak in now. He's grabbed that mega. He's got himself a light armor, but he still only has a rocket, which isn't ideal here on Exiles. Got to be careful as he's kind of choosing to engage. Finally jumps around, does grab that rail, and GaRpY is just going to disengage. He knows that he's got an opportunity here. He knows that he's got a good sense of control. He's just got to capitalize on it.
Yeah, GaRpY is doing a really good job, not only contesting the items, but yeah, the weapons as well. He was still looking for an LG in the rail. He knew Av3k was in a really, really bad spot underneath, but managed to get away in the end. So Av3k managed to even things out in terms of everything else. A minute 20 has gone left on the clock. GaRpY now realize he hasn't got full map control like he did previously, and how is he going to contest this next item as heavy is up in the next 8 seconds? No gentleman's agreement for the items, as it looks like there may be, because GaRpY's just listening out to see what he's going to go for first. He's probably praying that he does not go for the heavy, which he has done, sadly for him. Take a little bit of damage, just throwing that orb just to fake GaRpY out. Good damage though, still managed to keep him back. Does pick up the Mega, and now the items are heavily segregated.
Yeah, that actually I think worked out. I like how GaRpY is taking it a little slow, that he's playing a bit more strategically. Right, 0-0 on the scoreboard is definitely an indicator of that. Av3k though, now as the times increase, he's got a full weapon arsenal. He's sitting on a fairly decent stack now. At least he's full health with full armor, and we are going to have, as you mentioned, a split here. And we do have a battle over the Mega, but it's a long time till heavy. So the fight advantage is definitely in GaRpY's favor. Feel like he's been using his grenades quite nicely, Lethal. Again, making some nice shots. A lot of positioning from GaRpY, right?
Yeah,
As we're there, he is going to scoop in. And now GaRpY with control of both major items.
And we feel like with GaRpY's very heavily dependent on his rockets when he's out of control. Looking to get that rail. GaRpY, that was absolute filth as he finally gets that first frag of the match. And look at that though, managed to get the rails. Looking for a second if you can. It's going to rain down rockets and pineapples. Fourth does orb up as Av3k gets away for now, but how long for? I think he was a little bit unsure of which weapon switch to make, but it doesn't matter. The damage has already been done, not before Av3k actually retaliating with a rail of his own.
Yeah, and it's funny because I'm sure GaRpY was like, well, he's just got a rail off the spawn, and then he gets snacked with two of them, and I was like, okay, I would also be apprehensive about, just showing himself. But honestly, Av3k wasn't in a great spot off of that spawn. He put his foot down, he made a stance, and it worked out for him. GaRpY, however, still controlling these items, and Av3k's going to need to figure out a way to kind of break through that barrier. And let's see what GaRpY does as he sets up near the Mega. Still a few seconds off, but he also can have that, take the liberty of being at the top and having a lot of control and a lot of great angles to potentially fire down on his opponent. Takes that Mega, narrowly avoids the rail, and 4 minutes in, we're still at a 1-0 game.
I love this though from GaRpY. He's literally playing this, very slow, very content. And just using those rockets just to keep his opponent at bay, but always holding these, these positional angles, give him such a huge advantage. He fell down anyway. I could feel he must have been shaking a little bit and sweating in his chair. As if that's the way to lose that first frag. I was like, oh, that's all right. Oh, no, never mind. Okay, he's going to drop. I was going to say great stuff about GaRpY, then I'll say it afterwards, but yeah, Av3k now up 1-0. Not the start you would like. He had a dream start at first, but now things got a little bit out of hand.
It's like you're at a restaurant, you just ordered all your food, and you're so hungry, and you're getting ready to, take it over. You're with some friends, and you trip and fall, and the food just goes onto the floor, and everyone's got to start all over, and you feel a little embarrassed. It's like we just saw the Quake equivalent of that, Lethal. And I'm glad to see GaRpY did get his frag back at 1-1. But did you notice how aggressive Av3k, he flipped the switch, right? The moment that happened, he was like, that's got to make any player flustered. I'm going to move in. He ended up getting the die frag. Nicely done. We're tied back up 1-1, but that was kind of crazy because GaRpY had control of this map. He had the momentum. He had all of the major items that he wanted, and it just goes to show how brutal the game of Quake can be. And yes, you're always up against an opponent, but sometimes you yourself can make a mistake like that, and it can completely change how the game progresses from that point forward.
Yeah, had such great things to say, and that just completely threw me off. Good rocket though. I feel like GaRpY, okay, yeah, you're absolutely right, momentum definitely not in his favor anymore. It's kind of shifted a little bit, it's neutralized, but he's still playing this quite smart. I don't think that ruined his mindset in the process of getting his map control and trying to fiddle around a bit. Yeah, I think it was, as well, as it's still tied up. A very, very slow game of Exile as GaRpY is just on the back foot, just trying to hide underground under some of the layers from some of its flaws, and trying to see how he can take out Av3k, but he's gone straight through. He's waiting for Av3k to go straight through again, and look at that, dude. Oh, that was so close. Av3k still very weak. He could actually go for the trade there. Will he be able to with the LG? 28 HP, but Av3k doing so much work And good retaliation from Av3k there. As GaRpY almost had that, now trying to push. Oh, he said again. Oh, no.
Oh, man. And then the janitor comes over and he starts cleaning up the food, and on your way to the bathroom you slip because he missed a spot. And no, 1 to 4. That's real unfortunate. But I mean, sync air up 2 here in this matchup. 3 frags separating these two. What you said is accurate, though, right? GaRpY is not necessarily out of it. These are unfortunate things that happen. There was a nice rail sticking to his guns. 2 to 4. You can still bring this back. This is still a possibility. Orb is down for 30 seconds. You know, he is trying to do something here off the spawn, and he may need to get ready for the heavy. I think he picks up a major item or a contest here at heavy, and he could still try to tie this up before it's over, but he's got to be careful. Av3k with some great LG pushes his opponent back, follows up with the machine gun, makes the scoreline +3 for Av3k.
Yeah, 3 frag deficit to come back from. Sincera and GaRpY have a bit of work to do in these next couple of minutes as the LG comes out from Av3k, still laying down below in terms of the damage count and pushing GaRpY back. And he's going to see if he can do it with the pineapples as well as the rockets. But again, trade, fair enough, but still not going to change the fact that it's still a 3 frag deficit. GaRpY realizes he's got the LG and the shotgun and the rockets. He's got the weapons in his arsenal. Needs to take advantage of this. He's going to go straight through. But oh, that last rocket from Av3k is going to do wonders for him on 4 HP. GaRpY just trying to restack in any way he can. Has been able to, but how long has he got left? 1.5 minutes, as Av3k has full map control and a good stack to work with.
Yeah, at this point, it's going to be real tough, I think. And there's going to be another orb up in 10 seconds, which either gives an assault or an escape. Great rocket, followed up with a second one and a grenade hit as well. But Av3k is consistently hitting those shots, even when taking damage lethal. It's making it very, very hard for GaRpY to stack some of that damage as well. He's going to land another rocket, 3rd rocket, and unfortunately not able to get the frag. But the chase with GaRpY and Av3k still managing to get it, and that will probably seal and publish the final chapter of the book that is this game. 3 to 8, 5 frags separating these two with less than a minute to go. Av3k looks like he will be up 2-1 to take the series, although we will be going on to a 3rd map where GaRpY still has a chance. This map, Lethal, has definitely been entertaining.
I love this map just for all the wrong reasons as well. It's just great to see. Sadly for GaRpY, things did spiral out of control during those last few minutes. That really wasn't really too much his fault. He just had to, you know, overextend and putting himself in some positions which he felt very uncomfortable with. But yeah, what a real shame though. You know, it's oh my god, I thought he was going to do it again as he was he's dropping straight down. It is going for Av3k from through the portal, and he does orb away back up top. GaRpY tries to trace him down, but it's not going to be enough for Av3k as GaRpY does finish him up, but still got that 3 frag deficit, which he's been having to deal with for the last few minutes. I'm not gonna lie, that was actually really entertaining considering how that happened. I just can't believe that was actually the first death and just how it happened. You could just feel like what it was like in his position. Like he definitely got a little bit shaky in his chair, got a little bit squeaky. It was like, oh, okay, I've just completely ballsed up there. But never mind, we've still got one more map to go.
Yeah, it was, you know, and despite the fact that GaRpY is down 0-2 versus Av3k, you know, still relatively close games, 8-12 in map 1, 5-8, and of the way that one opened, GaRpY did have control of the map for a fair bit. I do like to see. He knows.
He knows.
Oh, it's so painful. Yeah, dude, I feel you, GaRpY. We all felt you, brother. I hope you. Yeah, I hope you. And honestly, Av3k is ruthless because the moment that happened, oh my gosh, he just got so ultra aggressive. But I like to see Exile to kind of slow down a little bit. You know, a much more strategic play in a lot of ways, especially right at the beginning. Try to find that flow, try to find that groove, and then you know, establish some dominance. And I kind of like to watch exactly how the gameplay of Exile continues to evolve in that way. And it's exciting to watch. That was a good matchup, even though you know, there were some unforced errors and some crazy things. Like, that's the world of Exile, right? I mean, Anything you all know, you've all been playing Quake for a very long time, like pits, lava, they've always kind of been the bane of our existence, but they do make for some of the most incredible moments as, you know, they become sometimes our favorite hazards that we've ever seen.
Absolutely. 315 more damage in favor of Av3k, 21 items to the 16 of GaRpY. I would love to have seen in a parallel universe or in a different world how that map would have gone if he didn't drop the first time rounds. And he didn't really beat himself up too much about it. He just cracked on and just continued to style a play we know and love from GaRpY. It was just a real shame because Av3k must have noticed the scoreline, saw the suicide, and thought, oh, hello. Well, I could do something here. I can, you know, get an item uncontested and then get full map control. He probably thought it was his birthday or something. It was just ridiculous. But going into map number 3, so it is 2-0 in favour of Av3k. It's a real shame to how that started, let alone ended. And we'll see what GaRpY can do here, as it will be on Veil. And I feel like for Veil, you know, Av3k is one of his strongest maps. So his strongest is definitely Ruins, Molten, and Veil. And we've already had Molten already, but, you know, we saw there for GaRpY, his strongest are definitely Corrupted Keep, Deep Embrace, and Exile. He's already had Exile. Sadly, he did lose on his map pick. But I want to see what GaRpY can do here physically. I said it before that, you know, the larger map scale isn't really to his liking, but we are on Veil, which he's not really too fussed about. He has got the Eisen, a very, very good champion to use in terms of the abuse of that turret for top mid control, especially for contesting both the Mega and the Heavy, depending on the placement. So we'll see what Av3k can do to respond to that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, on the flip side, right, we saw like a really interesting Eisen versus DK matchup where the turret reigned supreme up there on top. Now, a little bit different when Av3k kind of has the totem game going on. So we'll be curious to see exactly what the plan of attack is here for Av3k. But I like the selection on both sides. It makes a lot of sense. I do think this is going to also make for a great matchup. Rail going to be even more important, and both players have shown they're capable of controlling the major items. You know, in that last game, we saw GaRpY get that initial spawn. No arsenal for Av3k at all. How will the initial spawns play out in this one? You know, it might show us, you know, what the tempo of the game is going to be right off the bat. But excited to see how this one will end up. And obviously, Av3k has kind of won the series 2-0, but we play every map here during the regular season of QPL, as it's important for rankings and money, and we are now officially live. So Lethal, looks like we're through the eyes of GaRpY. Take it away.
Right, let's see if GaRpY can bring back a map into this series. As Av3k is currently up 2-0. Realises he's still around that rail area. Now, the problem for GaRpY is, yes, he'll have good turret placement. Yes, he'll have a big advantage around top mid, but he knows he needs to stay on his toes, not only to flank around Av3k, but keep these totems in check. He can't let it get out of hand for Av3k to get this overstack, but very, very patient, very calm, not really too much happening here as Av3k's trying to find out exactly where GaRpY could be. I'm sure from those audio cues he'll be able to find out, especially going up that jump pad, and knows that he's directly above as he will drop down that turret. It's going to push him back with the LG, and will he be able to take this? He's looking very good so far. Av3k has to back away. GaRpY may let him get away considering the position he's in, and I think he will, just due to the fact that he picks up the light and he will be going up for the heavy shortly.
Yeah, I mean, that worked out quite good for GaRpY. I mean, he did give up turret and we, you know, kind of give it Mega, but Mega was sort of a wash, right? And so now he's got that heavy at the top, turret's still out, and really has control of this area up here. Now, that's not going to stop Av3k at all. In fact, there that LG comes out. Mega was picked up in the middle of that fight, down to 36 points of health. Going to pick up some more. Have to use that turret defensively, but is under the overhang, and Av3k knows it. The LG comes out, and take a bath in the acid is what Av3k is going to say. 0-1. Av3k puts his first frag up on the board.
I know there must have been like a 5% feeling GaRpY's like, just please don't know I'm here. Please just assume I've gone towards that rail area and then gone for the light straight afterwards. Oh, look at this spawn kill almost from Av3k as well. Beautiful stuff. Just continuing the pressure, suffocating him on the spawn. He knows that, you know, he won't have time to contest the rockets, but if he's actually down there still, we may be able to make something happen. But this is what I like from Av3k, you know, he's not keeping that top control the entire time, prioritizing these hourglasses so that he can keep the overstack, but also keep GaRpY away from the totems so that he can't actually destroy them in any way. Looking so good. That rail for the portal was just ridiculous. And he still has that totem to overstack. Great stuff from Av3k, looking fresh, looking solid, and now he's just going to keep suffocating GaRpY if he can. But as I say that, GaRpY does go for the portal, gets that first frag to his name on this last map of the day.
And, you know, GaRpY needed that one. Someone in chat, Astral Abstraction, said, Av3k is like a shark. And that's exactly what he was like in the first 2 minutes, right? He played, he circled his prey a little bit, and then the moment that he was able to see some blood, smell blood, he was just on him, and we saw that relentless Av3k come out. Now, GaRpY shutting it down, it's good. He, like, kind of punched the nose of the shark and said, you need to settle down a little bit. But really important because when Av3k gets that way, you do not want him to rack up that 3-4. Now, there would be a good opportunity for GaRpY, and one thing I do have to say is that, you know, that his totem management hasn't been great, right? He's let these totems existed, is given Av3k that little bit of extra, you know, healing around the map, and you know, we'll have to see if that plays out. But I wish that he was a little bit more on top of that. Ooh. Perfect pickup of the heavy as he is bounced across the cavern, and he gets the frag off the spawn too. The LG is hot, looking to pick it up, and there it is. Suddenly, Av3k again, like a shark, 1-5. Suddenly, he's up by 4.
That's literally the perfect analogy for Av3k. I completely agree with that. Even a little bit of a surprise earlier. Av3k took so much damage from the turret earlier. Just another great rail from Av3k. He's just absolutely non-stop. He needs to calm down a bit, you know. He's just making matters worse for GaRpY. Left, right, and center. Another rail again. Is he going to look for the second? Will he get the second? Yes, he does. I'll go 3 for 3. You might as well. Oh, he misses it. May have jinxed it. Never mind. But will he about to clean him up anyway? Still has the totem in his back pocket if he wants to use it. Still looking to clean up GaRpY. GaRpY's just trying to rocket away. He can't. Takes a rocket in the meantime, but Av3k relays a rocket of his own into his skull. And now he has to try and come back from a 6 frag deficit with all this stack.
Yeah, it's really interesting how much Av3k is, you know, prioritizing LG. Here's another instance. Oh my goodness gracious! A perfect stream of LG followed up with the shotgun to the face. He's going to do it again, and I mean his LG damage 1100. It kind of dwarfs all of his other weapons right now. But it's been working for him, and getting those little chip damage and then cleaning up with it is nicely done. Oh. Big frag yet again, and 5 minutes into this game, and Av3k is full on feeding frenzy at this point. More rockets coming out. GaRpY does manage to get a frag. In fact, a trade here might have stopped the sort of car without a driver. I don't know, Lethal, but there's still a tall order. 9 frags still needed here.
Yeah, he can't play the setup he wants to anymore. He couldn't anyway because he's got to keep the totems in check. But GaRpY, good rocket to rail there. Oh, good prediction as well. Nice little frag to come back with, but still needs 8 more. 4.5 minutes left until the end of this match. And how's he going to respond to that? You know, he's taking out the totems now. A little bit late, but he knows. Well, it's not that he's been reading him. Av3k's been a little bit predictable in terms of where he's been leaving the totem, not his positioning itself, which has been a little bit more difficult for GaRpY to comprehend. But 4 minutes left, has a bit of time, but, you know, pretty much praying here for a little bit of a miracle, depending on how quickly GaRpY can take him down. But that rocket's not going to help.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to hear your thoughts. I don't feel like the turret's been super helpful, right? It hasn't really done a whole lot to help GaRpY control various areas or secure a major item. It seems like it's been a non-issue here for Av3k. And not saying, well, that means this is a terrible champ choice. It just hasn't really been working the way that I think GaRpY would like it to. Oh, was looking through the eyes to get that heavy. Does actually pick it up, which is nice. This is kind of the first step needed. Hits a great rocket into a rail. Trying to follow up on that. Does manage to get a little bit more splash damage, but needs to be careful. Being a little over aggressive could take away that stack that he's worked so hard for. But with time ticking away and about ready to hit that 3-minute remaining mark, needs to really start picking up a little bit. Big rockets yet again, but down to 8 points of health.
Oh no!
Oh, are you kidding me? We saw a totem frag. I can't believe it.
Oh, and it's in a position which you would commonly see quite often as well. don't think he expected it. He expected things a little bit more unorthodox. I don't think he probably assumed he was well. He had enough HP, but it doesn't matter. I feel like the damage has already been done as Av3k's just doing some nail to rail damage. Will he be able to clean up the last one? No, he does not. He knows that GaRpY's back to wait. He realizes that he's on that left health bubble. Potentially going for the light, but GaRpY responds for a good rail of his own. Again, now I do feel like the damage has already been done. Looking for 9 frags now in the next 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
Yeah, I agree. Interesting game from Av3k's perspective. I think GaRpY gave it his all, and we still have plenty of time left here. But to make up 9 frags is going to be incredibly hard, especially just given how much Av3k has controlled in this matchup. LG playing a huge role here. 1,700 damage with LG, 42% LG for Av3k, just to give you an idea of how effective that weapon has been in his hands. And GaRpY going to try some LG of his own, and hey, it works. Comes out of that fight very, very low. In fact, so low that a single bullet across the map from the machine gun is all it takes to wrap it back up. But as we're in the final moments, I think both these players kind of know what the outcome of this game is. And we're not necessarily seeing, just regular play, but Av3k with another super convincing victory here today in the QPL for week 3. I don't know, Lethal. I'm really impressed with how well Av3k has been playing.
Yeah, it's just been a real pleasure to watch. I was talking about earlier on in the day, I was talking about Zanarku and his story and like how he's been changing his style of play every 4 months, making these dramatic improvements. And Av3k, you can remember, this is a guy, of course, yeah, he's been around in the scene, in the Quake scene for years and years and years, but at the same time, he was dancing on the edge of relegation a few stages back in Season 1, and look at him now. He's absolutely at his peak, looking so solid, looking so good as well. And outside Benka, he's got definitely one of the best and most confident LGs you've ever seen, and it's just an absolute pleasure to watch. As GaRpY now just trying to fight for pride here, trying to get a couple of frags back if he can, down by 7. He's caught back a little bit, but not enough to go, hey, I can win this, because he's only got 25 to 20 seconds left. But a good series nonetheless. I'm still would have loved to have seen how map 2 would have played out differently, but apart from that though, I feel like GaRpY has played better in terms of his aim and a little other bits here and there. But apart from that, yeah, Av3k will be taking this series 3-0 in quite convincing fashion.
There it is. Final score of this one is going to be 10-17, and Av3k with a 3-0 sweep versus opponent here in week 3. Still some good games. I given GaRpY some credit, given also considering some of the things that happened, some rough goes for sure. Still played very, very well. I thought it might even be a wider score line than it was, so good on him. But Av3k looking strong as ever, and someone I think people should be taking a look at. And you know what? Someone I want to take a good look at. 40 Lions, welcome back. How's it going? Hope you enjoyed your cheesecake. What'd you think of the match?
A little brutal. Especially map number 2, man. That's just one small step, and it just all goes horribly wrong. Av3k pounces at the sign of blood, as you mentioned, gets super aggressive and takes the map in his favor. And just that the display from Av3k is, like you said, scary. Someone to keep your eye on the EU side. He's always been pretty strong, but coming out of the gate with 6-0 now after 2 weeks, that's just insane. And his LG, I know chat was lighting it up, so to speak, about his LG. His LG is absolutely insane. I'm wondering if this is like mechanically the best LG he's been hitting of his career.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with that. I was just trying to think of what else he's actually done to make such an improvement. But yeah, I think he's just tracking overall, not even just his LG. His rail this game has just been an absolute pleasure to watch. It's just been great to see, just been an absolute nuisance. But I want to talk about GaRpY a little bit as well. Like, commiserations to him. I know he's been riding that one-way ticket to the struggle bus, for the last couple of matches. But I think between the last match and this one, his aim has improved. I feel like on Exile, it could have been a little bit different. He played to his style and his strengths, but still, though, it could have been a different matter or different situation depending on well, you could say first frag, but we'll just say the first suicide nonetheless. But looking at the damage count and everything else, still looking pretty good, just under 700 more damage. And even look at the LG, which we talked about earlier on, 2,591. And you got to think he still hit 43% of that.
That's just insane damage.
Scary.
Again, yeah, getting close to, again, averaging 6K, like, just insane from Av3k, absolutely insane. And you know, one better thing than watching Quake every week is watching chat, and I forgot who said it, but someone said something about, like, Av3k's performance isn't bad for a 40-year-old, which is just the best meme I've ever read, because it couldn't be further from the truth. But, like, I love stuff like that. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and I mean, Av3k is coming off of the stage finals. I think it was very clear, like, okay, Av3k has changed his mentality. You know, we even got a chance to interview him a little bit as well, and you could kind of see that. So I hope we do get a chance to do the same here today. Would love to kind of, you know, learn a little bit more about how he is feeling and what he's kind of doing. But another big victory for Av3k, making him 2-0. You know, he took out CNZ in the first match that he played for stage 3. So he's off to a phenomenal start here in the EU side of the bracket for QPL. And we will be after the break going to the second matchup, which also excited for. But, you know, congratulations to Av3k and, you know, GaRpY. Let's keep it up. Unfortunately, having to kick off the stage 3 with 3 losses. And that kind of sucks.
Yeah, that's definitely not where you want to be. I mean, it all adds up. I know it's still pretty early, but just being down in a hole and trying to dig yourself out is rough. So even more props to Av3k. Again, starting off strong. You're going to need every win you can to get the seeding you want going into the stage 3 finals. And yeah, in terms of the games, I mean, what do you do against something like that where Av3k is just hitting everything, positioning really well, running the map, and you try and go toe to toe, even stack wise, if you can, and you just get out LG. It's rough. It is very, very rough, and I think you're absolutely right that Av3k, everyone should have their eyes on him.
Yeah, I haven't really got too much more to add. It was just very difficult to comprehend what GaRpY could have done to retaliate back. You know, he did everything he should be doing with the Eisen, even on that last map. But the stuff Av3k was doing was just great. It was just ridiculous. There was angles he held which he shouldn't have got away from, which he managed to hit, no problem. Good contention of the items, but that's the problem with the Eisen versus Galena matchup. It's the fact that, you know, you may have that height control and you may have the map control as well with the turret in place as well to give you even more positional advantage. But if they have to move away from that position to stop the totems going out of control and overstay, then what do you do? It's very tough.
Yeah, and I've just gotten word we are trying to get Av3k, so it might take a little bit. We're just making sure mic check and everything is good, and then we'll have him in here so we can badger him with our questions. Wheat, sorry, you were going to say something?
No, I was just going to agree with Lethal. That's all. That's all. I'm excited also to just talk to Av3k. I think that's great.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to get the players in here and have a chat with them. I'm personally just going to ask him about mechanics. I mean, again, like, it's astounding how well he's playing mechanically, and I wonder if he feels like that's probably his best mechanical play. But I think he's available. Av3k, if you're there, how are you? Welcome. Congratulations.
Congrats.
Yeah.
I'm there. Thank you.
You've appeared. The prince has
Welcome.
appeared. So again, congratulations right off the bat. A very strong start the last 2 weeks for you. Real quick from me, do you feel like mechanically you're playing some of the best Quake? I mean, chat lights up with your LG every time they see it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like you're hitting some of the best LG of your career?
I don't know. I think I had really good aim, like in 2018, like on DreamHack when we played 2v2 and I played 1v1 this grand final with Rafa. I think I was hitting really, really hard. And then, like, I think I would say that's, yeah, like, my mechanics are good. I'm happy with my mechanics. Like, I don't really feel like they are like something special or like very, very much above, but I think I'm doing fine with my mechanics. And this is what I'm also focusing before matches, basically.
Well, chat would disagree. They are absolutely floored by your mechanics, and as we are as well. So congrats again. But Lethal, I think you're up next.
Oh, yeah, I was going to just a quick question from me is the fact that what makes you so strong on maps like Molten and like Ruins, you know, some of the larger maps in the map pool? Because I always feel like you kind of play a lot more aggressively compared to a lot of the other players.
In general, I think my game style is like pretty aggressive, which comes from Quake 4 and Quake Live. And every time I'm joining the game in Quake Champions, I actually need to try to cool myself down. I cannot like reveal my real aggression because this style that completely doesn't work in Quake Champions. Of course, there is moments where you have to use your aggression and like make sure that you executing frags well. then when you need mechanics, and then when you need that's the time when you need like your aggression. But I think in general in Quake Champions you need to be calm, you need to be collected, you need to be slow. So to be honest with you, in my eyes I'm playing really slow and really defensive on small maps, because I'm really trying to like calm myself down. If I would start to play like whatever I want, then I would be playing completely different and much faster. But it's just like I just cannot do that if I want to win some game, because if I'm gonna be YOLO around like for 10 minutes, like with plus forward, people gonna wreck me.
Cool.
I kind of want to continue this line of questioning a little bit, Avik, because there are some comments in chat like Avik is like a shark, and there was this moment, and it, you know, early on, I think both in game 1 and game 2, where things were a little bit slower, right? Kind of exactly what you just said, where it's like, I'm going to play reserved, I'm not going to be aggressive, but then almost like boxing, you kind of like stunned GaRpY, and it seemed as if you said, there's an opening now, I am going to go hard, I'm going to turn that aggression on. Is that kind of what is going through your head in those moments, is to constantly saying?
That's exactly what you said, and that's the best comparison I would ever say, because I've always thought that Quake 1v1 duels are very similar to boxing, because it's like on some point you cannot go like reckless on someone before you take some advantage. Before you cannot like attack someone straight away, because people just see like beautiful moments and attacks, but they don't know that the whole time before that attack happened was like pre-play. It was like preparing the situation, preparing your opponent, preparing your shots to be able to reveal your beast basically. So you basically like poking the guy, and as soon as you have like a good moment, then you're revealing your aggression, and then you're going ham, and then that's the point where you need to make as many frags as possible until the guy like collects himself, gets control back, and then you need to cool down and not feed anymore. Like same on Molten, you know, like I lost control and I had two scenarios. Either I keep rushing him, but with playing Anarchy and Squishy is basically one full shotgun on one, or one full rocket and I'm dead. Or I play very, very slow, I take greens, I prepare situation, then I wait for my inject, and then I can play on equals with him. And then see how the situation goes, because if I'm gonna make him low, I'm fast, and he's a tank, he's never gonna restock anymore, then I can re-rush him and make frag. And then I can speed up my game. So it's like all the time, like, you know, you're changing the tempo. It's like Cooler said, it's like exactly how it is. You need to know like right moments when you can let yourself be more aggressive and when you have to actually cool down. That's why the Quake is beautiful. That's why 1v1 is beautiful.
It is.
Because like it's like constantly like mind games, and like you need to control yourself, because if your head is like cooked and if you are like hot and you start rushing and feeding, then the game is over, right?
Yeah,
Awesome
the mental game is a
insight.
huge
Thank you.
aspect of it.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Anyone else have any questions for the Prince himself?
No, just congratulations, man. Great play. Enjoyed it on this end. No, chat enjoyed it as well. So thank you.
Yeah,
as
thanks
always.
guys. Thank you.
See you later.
Congratulations, yeah. It's always a pleasure to watch you play, and take care. We'll see you soon. I have a feeling, Avik.
Thanks guys. See ya.
Peace.
So, we're on to the last setup of the day, gentlemen. It's going to be Maxter versus Rafa. I feel like we've seen this before, and I feel like it's been a nail-biter. So, what do you say we grab some drinks, hang out for a little bit, and we come right back here, and we finish off the day with a bit of a barn burner again?
You know.